Because so much of the land was regularly flooded, many houses were built on stilts.
This is eternal Cambodia. If you tell me that this image was took yesterday, I would believe you, because this is the traditional Cambodia as it always was.
This unusual photograph shows a Cambodian official working in the French colonial service.
These
photographs give you a feeling of the transitional quality of things in Cambodia, in this period between modernity and tradition. You can see some modern elements, the hat, the moustache, the bow tie, but he's also dressed in Cambodian style with his sampot trousers. The interesting thing is the way it's all mixed up.
Cambodia had neither the raw materials nor the population of Vietnam, so it couldn't generate huge sums of money for France. But it did possess one of the glories of Indochina, the temple complex of Angkor. Built by the ancient kings of Cambodia, Angkor had been largely abandoned in the 15th century when Phnom Penh became the capital city. In 1860, it was visited by the French explorer Henri Moore. Europe was enthralled by his sensational account of amazing temples and dramatic ruins cloaked in dense forest. When Bussy first approached Khan, he had promised to make Angkor a priority.
Angkor was a very prestigious site in that era. You were dealing with a set of ruins which could be compared to the Temple of Solomon. There was nothing comparable in the world. With all that history, all those memories preserved in its walls and temples, the archives of the planet just had to have it.
In February 1921, Bussy journeyed across the Mekong to get his first glimpse of the magnificent ruins of Angkor. His film and photographs depict an archetypal lost city, full of exotic statues and mysterious wall carvings. The tallest and best preserved building was called Angkor Wat, the temple of the city.
It has always been the symbol of Cambodia. This is the largest, the biggest, the most beautiful temple. You can hardly criticize when you see the general plan of Angkor Wat. If you are an architect, you can hardly find a failure. Everything is perfect.
Bussy took numerous pictures of Angkor Wat, but like many later photographers, he was also drawn to another temple built nearby, about 100 years later, the Bayon.
You have these enormous faces, 3 or 4 meters high it seems like, and there's maybe 70, and they're all looking in different directions. And it's this very kind of all-knowing, smiling face with these big eyes kind of looking out over the jungle. I think one of the challenges of photographing a Bayon is to try and get as many faces in the same frame. And I think in a couple of his photographs, he's been very clever to be able to find the right vantage point.
By 1921, French archaeologists had cleared many of the temples and were beginning the long process of restoration.
To start with, the priorities were very basic, clearing temples one by one. It was a task which was really a challenging, very exciting one, because this is one of the largest archaeological sites in the world. They started to introduce restoration, and spectacular restoration, where they rebuilt integrally some monuments which had previously completely disappeared.
In addition to the small army of Cambodians employed by the French to clear the site, Bussy found the lost city of Angkor to be a surprisingly busy place. His trip coincided with an official visit by a Siamese prince and his entourage. He photographed local boys fishing with bamboo baskets in a temple moat, and a Cambodian family in front of their country's most important monument. Inside Angkor Wat, he took dozens of portraits of monks. It was built to represent Mount Meru, which in Hinduism is the home of the gods. But over the centuries,